The lights flashed behind him, cutting through the quiet night like a blade. Nathaniel Jones, a 42-year-old black man, felt his stomach drop. It wasn't the first time he'd been pulled over. He'd been stopped by cops before, but tonight felt different. There was an edge to it, a sense of inevitability, a feeling that the weight of the world was about to come crashing down on him. Nathaniel's pulse quickened as he eased his car to the side of the road. He'd just finished a long day at the office, his mind focused on the latest push for police reform. He'd spent the day crafting new policies to bridge the gap between the community and law enforcement. It was his life's work, his mission to bring about real change in a world that was far too comfortable with injustice. But tonight, it seemed the roles would be reversed. Nathaniel had been profiled. He glanced at the rearview mirror, watching as the patrol car pulled up behind him. The officer who emerged from the squad car was young, probably new to the force. His uniform was pristine, his movements rigid. Nathaniel had seen it all before. The suspicion, the assumption that a black man alone on the road at night was up to no good. The officer approached the car, his flashlight shining directly into Nathaniel's face, blinding him for a moment. Nathaniel's grip on the steering wheel tightened. He knew this dance all too well. "Evening, sir. Do you know why I pulled you over?" the officer asked, his voice sharp. Nathaniel took a deep breath and gave the officer a polite smile. "No, officer. I'm not sure, but I assume it's for speeding." The officer didn't reply immediately. Instead, he leaned closer, peering into the car as if searching for something. His eyes flicked over Nathaniel's face, his posture stiff, almost accusing. "You were driving suspiciously," the officer said, his tone suspicious and dismissive. "I've been watching you for a while. Your driving patterns seem off." Nathaniel didn't flinch. He had dealt with these moments too many times to let it get to him. He kept his voice calm, controlled. "Suspicious? Officer, I was just driving home after a long day at work." The officer ignored his response, his eyes narrowing. "Step out of the vehicle, sir." Nathaniel's heart pounded in his chest. It wasn't the first time he'd been stopped, and he knew how it could escalate. But tonight was different. He wasn't just any black man on the road. He was the chief of police. He had worked tirelessly to climb the ranks, to prove that his authority wasn't defined by his skin color. And yet, here he was, being treated like a criminal. He took a deep breath, his mind calculating his next move. He knew how dangerous a situation like this could become, how quickly things could spiral out of control. But he also knew that he had the power to turn the tables. Nathaniel opened the door, stepping out slowly. The officer kept his distance, his hand hovering near his holster. Nathaniel could feel the tension building. The officer's voice, now laced with a hint of condescension, spoke again. "Do you mind if I search your vehicle, sir?" The officer's tone was firm, but there was something behind it, an air of entitlement. "No, I do mind," Nathaniel said, standing tall, his voice steady. "You have no reason to search my vehicle, officer. I haven't committed any crime." The officer's eyes flickered, clearly unsure how to respond. He was used to people cowering, to black men backing down when the police flexed their muscle. But Nathaniel wasn't that person. He wasn't just some random citizen. He was the chief of police in the very city that this officer worked in. "Let me see your ID, then," the officer said, his voice cold. Nathaniel nodded, but instead of reaching for his wallet, he pulled out his badge. He handed it to the officer, watching as the young cop's eyes widened in shock. The officer took a step back, his expression changing from suspicion to disbelief. His eyes flicked from the badge to Nathaniel's face, then back to the badge again. The shift in power was palpable. I didn't realize," the officer stammered, his words fumbling over each other. Nathaniel held the officer's gaze, his calm demeanor only adding to the tension in the air. "I didn't think you would," Nathaniel replied. "But I'm the chief of police, officer. I oversee the department you work for. So, before you make any more assumptions about suspicious activity, you might want to check who you're pulling over." The officer stood frozen for a moment, his face turning red. He hadn't expected this. He had assumed Nathaniel was just another black man on the street, easy to target, easy to intimidate. But he was wrong. Nathaniel didn't give him a chance to respond. Instead, he spoke again, his voice firm and unwavering. Do you have any idea how dangerous this is? How this profiling affects the community we both serve? How it undermines everything I've worked for? The officer's hand, which had been hovering near his holster, now fell to his side. He was silent, unsure of how to proceed. Just then, the radio in the officer's car crackled to life. The officer quickly turned toward it, his moment of hesitation making it clear he was no longer in control of the situation. Nathaniel took a step forward, his voice carrying authority. You should be ashamed of yourself, officer. You are supposed to protect the people you serve, not treat them like criminals based on the color of their skin. The officer stood still, his face flushed, but Nathaniel wasn't finished. He reached into his jacket pocket, pulling out a card. Take this, Nathaniel said, handing it to the officer. It's my contact information. You'll be hearing from me. And if I were you, I'd take a long, hard look at how you're doing your job. Because if this is how you treat people, you might not be wearing that badge much longer. The officer, still in shock, took the card without a word, his hands shaking slightly. He didn't know how to respond, didn't know how to fix the mess he had created. Nathaniel turned to leave, his every step deliberate, knowing that the officer was standing there, frozen in place. But before he reached his car, he paused and turned back. One more thing, officer, Nathaniel said, his voice now softer but no less commanding. You don't get to decide who belongs here and who doesn't. I do. And I expect you to remember that the next time you stop someone based on the color of their skin. With that, Nathaniel got back into his car, the weight of the moment lingering in the air. As he drove away, he couldn't help but feel a sense of justice. He'd turned the tables, not through force or anger, but through knowledge, power, and unwavering confidence in who he was. As he drove off into the night, he knew that this was just one small victory in a much larger battle. But for tonight, it was enough. If you love this story, share, like, and subscribe to this channel for more interesting stories.